Hello and welcome back to the Tea and Soju C-Drama podcast, your safe spot for C-Drama chatter. I'm your host, Liliana, and it's time to sit back, grab your tea, and let's chat Asian dramas. In today's episode, we are going to be doing a review for the Chinese drama, The Story of Pearl Girl. But just before we get into that, some housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe on the platform you listen on. That really helps the podcast reach other listeners. For more content, check out Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes, first impressions, movie reviews, and more. Finally, if you would like to chat to me or find a community, check out Discord, Instagram, and other socials. The link is in the episode notes. So I'm joined by Jess. Say hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, Tea and Soju listeners. It is Jess from the Tebak K Rambles podcast, 1/3 of the drama trio. Happy to be back. Thank you, Liliana, for having me.
You're welcome. So, how did this even come about, this review? Because I was actually watching this back in, I think it was December that it aired. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. Aired November. Oh, actually, even worse, it aired in November 2024. I was thinking it was December.
This is looking worse and worse for us, honestly.
Yeah. So, keep that in mind, because I was going to review this all the way back last year. Life got ahead of me, stuff happened, and it just did not work out that I reviewed this.
Yeah.
But I have all of my notes, and I keep saying I have a bunch of shows that I have notes for, and they're like quite detailed notes, and I'm like, I put the effort in for these notes. I want to use them up.
Right. So I'm not sure if people might appreciate the fact that when we take notes, we are literally stopping the drama to write stuff down, because it's not a drama that we can listen to and understand what they're saying. We have to read what they're saying. So to take a note, it's basically halting everything, putting your thought down, and then continuing the drama. And that adds so much watch time to the experience. Yeah.
It so does. I was trying to explain this to somebody that, like, yes, it might be a 45-minute episode, but if I'm taking notes, it might take me like an hour 10 to watch like one episode.
Yeah.
Because I have to write stuff down and I have to like make sure I'm really following what's happening.
Right.
And I have notes, like, typically, if I'm really enjoying a drama, I have notes pretty much on every single episode. Like, I'll end up with notes for everything. For quotes, oh my God, the amount of time you have to spend to get a quote just right. Like, sentence, pause, right. Sentence, pause, right. It takes forever to get, like, full quotes down.
Yeah.
So you're like, no, I took the time. I want to use up these
I understand.
notes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like doing homework, and then the homework was never due. The class got canceled, and but I have all this work. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had been saying, I really should just review this. And Jess, you were watching it. So
I was, So what happened with me was that this came out in November 2024. I obviously didn't get a chance to watch it at the end of 2024, which is when I usually watch things that aired in that current year. I try and get it done in the last quarter of the year. Didn't happen. But I did press play in January, February of this year, 2025. And I got about halfway through and did a midday review up on the Tebak Patreon. And then I started my own, season 6 over on the Tebak feed and could not return to finishing the story of Pearl Girl. But I was really into it. Like, at the time that I stopped, I literally stopped halfway at episode 20. And I was like, oh, but I want to find out what happens next. And I never did. And then when I can't remember when you said this, but you were like, I really want to do an episode. And I was like, but use me, I'll do it, because I really want to finish. And I'll never finish unless I have a podcast to do on it, especially during the season 6 for Tebak.
So I was like, I'll invite Jess over. And so this is going to be an interesting an interesting review because, like I said, I watched this while on it. I have not gone back and watched anything else about it. So I'm relying solely on the notes that I made. And this is going to be an interesting way to see how much I actually remember from the
Retained.
drama. Yeah, and how much I've retained from it. Since it's been over 6 months almost since the drama has,
Hmm.
since I've watched it. But yeah, shall we get into this?
Yeah, yeah.
MDL synopsis says after escaping a brutal pearl farm, Duan Wu, a skilled diver, meets merchant Yan Zijing and noble Zhang Jin Ron. Joining Yan's caravan, she gets drawn into the glittering world of jewels while uncovering secrets about her past. Along the way, she faces betrayal and loss, but stays determined to uncover the truth. Renamed Su Mu Zi, she starts her own business, Clear Mind, and teams up with Zhang to right an old wrong. In the end, Su Muzi thrives at the jewel exhibition, inspiring women to take control of their destinies. So this is adapted from the novel, the prequel of Crucian Jade by Tan Tian Yin. It was filmed from November 17th, 2023 till March 14th, 2024, and then it aired from November 1st, 2024 to November 22nd, 2024. It is 40 episodes of about 40 minutes each, and it is a Yoku production, although it is now since been added to Netflix as well,
Hmm.
so you can watch it on Netflix. It's also on TVing, which is like a um
Yeah.
Korean app. I think is it
Subscription service.
yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it like doesn't it belong to TVN? I think TVing belongs to TVN, but I might
Oh,
be
geez.
misremembering. But anyways, it's a Korean app which I find very well, it's not strange, but Chinese Korean relations have never been great, so it's interesting that like they're picking up all of these shows nowadays. But we'll skip over that anyway. So that's where you can watch it. The director for this is Shi Zi. So he's been directing since 2016, and he's directed Great Expectations from 2018, Legend of Fu Yao from 2018.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
I
makes a lot of
know.
sense, actually.
Does it? Yeah, I thought
It
it might.
does.
Lu Yang from 2021 and Romance of Twin Flower from 2023. Now, I think we need to put because Jess has. I dropped Legend of Fuyao. I also dropped Lu Yang, and I also dropped Romance of Twin Flower. So,
Yes. So here's what happened. I dropped Legend of Fu Yao.
Mhm.
They, the episodes were just dragging. It was a 66 episode C drama from
So long.
2018. And I remember watching and watching and watching, and I just were like somehow stuck in the desert all of a sudden. And I was like, you know what? I don't even know how we got here. So
Mm,
I dropped that show as well. I just thought it was spinning its wheels like crazy. And it
mm,
was just so annoying I think towards the time that I stopped watching. So I didn't finish it. And I guess that kind of bleeds into my general thoughts about this story of Pearl Girl, but
oh no.
um we can talk about it. This just makes a lot of sense, I think, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So, screenwriter is Ma Shasha, and they've done Devastating Beauty from 2018, General's Lady from 2020, and Wrong Carriage, Right Groom from 2023.
But you don't
I,
like you tell me
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
you don't like Wrong Carriage, Right Groom, right?
No, I dropped it.
Because
I did like General's Lady,
okay.
but the thing is, I watched General Lady. It's now 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
and I at the time I had been watching Chinese dramas for about a year and a half. So I was
Oh,
very new, very new. I don't know
okay.
if I were to go back now
If
and
you would
rewatch
like it.
it, if I would necessarily like it. My enjoyment of things has has changed so much in like 5 years. It's like
Yeah.
night and day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can't do the cutesy dramas anymore. Like, I just can't. So yeah. So that's interesting. But no, I didn't finish Wrong Carriage, Right Groom because it was just like I don't even remember why I didn't finish it. I think I dropped it really early on as well. I think I watched like 3 or 4 episodes, which is really bad because like a Chinese drama, you should give it a couple more. But if
Yeah.
it's not working that early on, it's not gonna work. Like it's just not gonna work. So yeah. So for cast, we have the brilliant Zhao Lusi. Now, she's been acting since 2017, and she's been in things such as Oh My Emperor, which was my very first thing that I watched from Zhao Lusi. It's a
Oh.
2018 drama, um, and it was a lot of fun.
Uh,
It's not great. It's not a great drama, but it is a little bit funny. Um she's also starred in The Romance of Tiger and Rose from 2020, The Long Ballad from 2021, and then her most I think noticeable roles that people really really know her from is Love Like the Galaxy from 2022, and obviously we have Hidden Love from 2023. Those
right.
are her like really really big roles. So yeah, what's you like
Oh, I love her.
Zalushi and Jonah? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love her. I've seen her in, obviously Story of Pearl Girl now, Hidden Love, Love Like the Galaxy, Romance of Tiger and Rose. And I want to see her in more. Oh, I've also seen her in like a modern day drama where she was like a violinist or something. I don't.
Oh, I hear your voice. I think that's
Yes,
what it's
I think
called.
it's
I hear
Oh,
your
I Hear You
voice.
maybe
Oh,
or
I
something.
hear you. Yes, I hear you. I have
Okay.
watched that one. I have
Yeah,
watched that
yeah.
one
Which
as
was like
well. Yeah,
cute,
yeah.
generally fine, not gonna change your life or anything, but it's
No,
nice and
it
sweet.
was fun. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, I love her. She's great. No
me too.
complaints. Yeah.
Absolutely. Me too. I think the thing is with Alushi, um, the dramas may not be the best sometimes, but she always delivers, which
I
I
Yes, I
think,
was gonna say
you
the same
know,
thing. That if you don't
mm,
like a drama of hers, it's 99% of the time
it's
it's
not her
not
fault.
because of her. It's
Yeah,
because of the
yeah.
writing, it's because of the
Hmm.
production of whatever. Male lead, I don't
Hmm.
even know. But it's any other reason besides her. She's never the
Besides her.
problem.
Yeah, yeah. So I really, really like her. I'm really looking forward to stuff that she has upcoming. Obviously, she's had a lot on hold because of her like health situation, but she does have a couple of dramas that are supposed to be coming out soon. And one of the roles that I'm quite interested to see, it's gonna be quite different to her. It feels like a very adult, mature role. So I'm very excited to see that one. So next up we have Lu Yuning. Now he's been acting since 2019 in dramas, 2016 in movies, but he's been singing for a really long time. And this man, when I say to me personally, he's like king of OSTs. He truly is
Yeah.
because he's in everything and he always makes some of the best OSTs in my opinion. Now he has been in Ultimate Note from 2020, The Long Ballad from 2021, which he paired up with Alushi. So this is why this was such an anticipated drama for them. The Legend of Anne Le from 2023, A Journey to Love from 2023, and then The Prisoner of Beauty from 2025. Now I love him. I don't understand why
Okay,
people say
there's hate. There's Chinese netizens freaking hate this man. They think he's ugly.
I don't see it. I don't understand where people are getting this,
They downrate his dramas just because of
idea.
his looks.
And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because he looks really good in period costume. Like, there's
Yeah.
actors out there that look ridiculous in period costume, and people are like, oh my God, but you look so good. And the thing is, I'm not gonna say any names, but at least he can act. Like he does not rely on
Yep.
his looks. Not throwing, just gonna throw this out there. But
Mm-hmm.
the man can act. And I think um having recently finished The Prisoner of Beauty, I would come for anybody who thinks this man cannot act and looks
Mm,
ugly because prisoner of
he
beauty
does.
will, if
I'm
it
sorry, but I'm
doesn't
going to have to
change your mind.
respectfully 100% disagree with you. He's, first of all, he's fine. Second of all, he can act. So
He can.
I,
Exactly.
yeah, strange.
I I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And he does like the best. Like what you can say about him is that his characters are very similar in tone. That I would like I agree. Like I can somewhat agree with that statement because
Mm,
yes, his characters do tend to be, very similar, but he brings something a little bit different to each of the characters and the man is busy. Like the man is busy. He doesn't do that many roles overall. So I don't understand why people are so gang ho, on it's every single time he
yeah, they
has a
pounce on
drama
him.
come out. They
Yeah.
pounce on him and it's like it's ridiculous. And then there's just him like on Weibo doing lives for like
Doing a
three
live where
hours
he's
just
just singing.
singing to his fans. And I'm like, this man is
He's so
just so
unbothered, it looks like.
nice. Yeah, so nice. Oh,
Yeah.
what's your overall opinion of him, Jess?
I love him and I wish him all the best. I saw him in A Journey to Love from 2023.
Mm.
Yes, I did not finish that show. I am halfway through it. Same story as Story of Pearl Girl, where I got about halfway and then I had other priorities that took over, and I never went back to finish A Journey to Love. It was right before all hell broke loose, and I need to go back and finish. But at this point, it's been too long. I probably
You
just need
need
to
to
restart the
rewatch
whole
it.
drama.
Yeah.
But I
Oh.
loved him. I thought he was really great.
Mm, I agree. I agree. And then the last one that we have is Tang Xiao Tan, who I refuse to call him by his English name. I'm sorry, but his English name is even worse than Song Tan Yoon's. Like his English name is Daddy Tan.
Fuck
Like I
off.
can't
No, it is
deal.
not.
It is. Like MDL used to have it, but now they've changed it. But that's what he used to be called on MDL. And I'm like, I can't.
Daddy?
It's spelled like DADDI. But like how
Yeah,
you
come
can't
on.
read that any other way.
Unless it's
Like
Dottie, like a
oh, it
different
might be.
or
Maybe. But it's
Daddy
an
or something.
A. But even that. I'm
It's
sorry. Like
wrong. They had to know
it
better.
is.
His team, his family, they had to know better.
Like I have this thing about it. Just use the Chinese name. It is fine. We can learn to try and pronounce it. Like don't give me these weird, bizarre names.
Ew.
But goodness. So he's been in things such as Put Your Head on My Shoulder from 2019,
Hmm.
Way Back into Love from 2020, The Ingenious One from 2023, and Wannabe from 2025, which was actually, I haven't finished it. I don't know if I will. Like the Wannabe
Oh,
show, he plays a like fish monger, like fish person
okay. Yeah, yeah.
that then becomes a model. Yeah. It's very
Oh,
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But it actually, from what I've heard, it actually works out quite well with like how they do it. I never finished it, so I didn't, go over it into it. Have you watched him in anything before?
Now that I see his filmography or a portion of it, I
Yeah.
have seen him in Put Your Head on My Shoulder from 2019,
Mhm.
which I can't believe that's from 2019, 6 years ago. That's
No,
rude. That's
I know.
that's
I can't.
criminal.
I
But
can't.
yes, I did see
I
him in
can't.
that.
I just can't. So yeah, I think with him, I think he's not like your classically beautiful, pretty man
Uh-huh.
sort of thing. I don't think. But the thing is, I think he is actually quite a talented actor, and his
Yeah.
projects are fairly varied. Like he's played in quite different things. I mean, Put Your Head on My Shoulder is a straight up fluffy romance, whereas
Yep.
the Ingenious One is a straight up political, um, you know, historical
Uh-huh.
drama. So he
It's got
does have
variety in
that
here.
going for him, but it just doesn't seem like he's really broken, you know,
Yeah, I was gonna
out,
say
if
that.
that makes
Doesn't seem like he's
sense.
broken through into the
No,
next
no.
level of fame or
Mm.
whatever.
So yeah, so that's like there is other characters, but that's like your main sort of cast, I would say. So, Jess, go ahead and just give us like your very quick general
Okay.
non-spoilers. What did you think about this drama?
Yeah, so this is a very I liked it up until well, the thing is, so I liked it in the very beginning, like the first couple of episodes,
Mm-hmm.
because it was high angst, high stakes, and then it kind of tapered off a bit
Mm-hmm.
into, all of the stakes are now kind of diluted. She's learning the ropes and she's in a different station in life. And her and the male lead are on weird footing because he's her master and he's
Yeah.
definitely taken her under his wing, but he's pretty brutal to
Mm-hmm.
her, which I found really jarring. I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. And then they start the romance. And I was like, okay, it's very slow burn of a romance. And by the time you get to the halfway point, I was like all in. I was like, hell yes, because all hell breaks loose.
Mm-hmm.
Shit hits the fan, and she basically has to build herself back up after that. And there is a lot of animosity between the male lead and the female lead. And I was like, perfect. I love angst. Let's go. Then it took a dip again. And I was like, oh no, they keep doing this where it's like, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster and it's not a good roller coaster. It wasn't a very good one. And by the end of the show, I just felt like I'm just watching this to finish it, not necessarily because
Mm-hmm.
I found it compelling or particularly interesting, because I felt like they got really, really in the weeds on all of the jewelry business stuff. This was a
Mm-hmm.
business heavy, entrepreneurial heavy show. And that I think took precedence over some of the character work, some of the obviously the romance was
Mm-hmm.
like take a backseat to that. And it was not particularly my favorite C drama that I've watched or my favorite C drama from Zhao Lusi. And the ending, the final couple minutes enraged me to no end. And I'm sure that it's been some time for you. I
Yeah,
did
I've cooled
message
off
you.
a bit. Yeah, you
You've
did.
cooled off. I messaged
I've
you and
cooled
I was
off
like,
a bit.
what the hell actually just happened? I thought, and I gave you like some of the like what I was seeing, what the tea leaves
Mm-hmm.
that I was reading
Mm-hmm.
on it. And you were like, yeah. And we kind of chatted a little bit about it, but we can do
Mm-hmm.
more in the spoiler section.
Yes.
I thought that this was the worst crime of this drama is that it's completely forgettable.
Mm. I mean, I remember certain parts of it, and I will say, I I've sat with it. Well, I've sat with it for 6 months now, but while I was watching, I kept thinking, especially in the beginning part, the
Mm-hmm.
Zhao Luxi's acting here was incredibly good. She delivered
Mm-hmm.
so much in that first, half, and I was really, really intrigued by this story that they were weaving about where
Mm-hmm.
the pearls were coming from and the divers and all of
Uh-huh.
this. That
Right.
really kind of like gripped me because it
Mm-hmm.
was really interesting. It was a topic that I knew absolutely nothing about. It was a topic that I hadn't really watched any dramas on. So I was interested in that arc. But I will say, it did get very business heavy, and I'm not one to necessarily enjoy business politics. Like I can do court politics if they're interesting, if the sort
Uh-huh.
of story kind of warrants for it. But when we get into business, I'm just not as interested, especially when it takes up the full forefront. And like you were saying, like character growth and character development takes like a back seat. That's not necessarily for me. And I think overall, this was a little bit at the time, I think they were kind of selling it more as a romance. And I don't
Yeah.
think this is a romance. I
No.
truly don't think this is a romance in the slightest. And so I went in with a mindset and expecting a certain thing. Like I thought this is going to be her story, and it is. At the end of the day, it is completely her story. I
True.
think it's her starting from the ground, like she's as low as she can go, and
Uh-huh.
it's her like going through life and learning and climbing her way up. So I think personally, like her journey specifically was quite satisfying to watch, but the business aspect of it was something I think we could have done without. So maybe this might have been a drama that would have been better suited at having like, I don't know, 30, 34 episodes, even like
Yeah,
35. The pacing would have worked
I
better with
agree.
less time. So
I
I
agree.
think that, like I said, the acting is really good in this. Like certain scenes that I can still come to mind 6 months later of Zhao Lusi's, like they were really, really good. And even though the drama itself wasn't as good as I expected it to be, her acting is like some of the better acting from her that I've seen. Like this
Mhm.
role was really, really good for her. But it's just sad that it came wrapped up in a story that lacked better pacing, I think.
Yeah, the pacing was abysmal in this, and the 40 episodes
Mhm,
did it absolutely no favors. It should have been 35 or less
mhm,
episodes. Just I would have started cutting. I would have started taking an axe to a like large swaths of the show that were extremely dry, just
mhm,
dry characters that I'm like, I don't give a shit about this character. Why are we talking at length about what's going to happen? We never see the king. We never see, all of these different people that are referred to that, oh, the emperor ordered this crown of blah, 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 and we can't produce the crown. It's not going to be on delivery. And I'm like, all this cash on delivery nonsense. I'm like, dude,
I
leave it
don't
at the
need to
door.
know.
I don't
I
need to
don't
know.
need to know.
Yeah, a lot of it's just they talk shop a lot in this drama, and I thought that was to its detriment. I love how you talked about how she goes on this journey, and I do appreciate the change in status. These change in
Mhm,
status stories always do well with me personally.
mhm,
My favorite change in status story in film world is like Gladiator, where he starts
mhm,
as a general, he gets demoted, he gets um betrayed, and then he gets
mhm,
turns into a slave, and then he becomes a gladiator, and then becomes a symbol, and like all of these things are change in status stories, and I
mhm,
love those. But on this one, it took its sweet time, and yes, they do call attention to her pulling herself up by her bootstraps, which is very American ideal, like
mhm.
a lot of the business stuff could also be seen as like an American ideal, right? Like, start
Yeah.
your own business, and, be your own, be your own boss and all this stuff, stick it to the
Mhm,
man. A lot of like stick it to the man happening in this, because there are all of these competing families and factions that own large swaths of the business. And it's all about like monopolies and,
mhm.
all of this stuff. Got it. Um, I didn't like the romance because it just didn't ring true to me.
And I think also it's not necessary for the plot. They could have
It's
just
not
as
necessary for the
easily,
plot.
they
The
could have,
male lead concerned his whole life with revenge.
Mhm,
And I don't think that him foisting his revenge on like his values onto her was ever going to work. Like she basically
mhm,
rejects the revenge by the end of the show, and she's like, I don't really
mhm,
need. If it happens, great. If not, I need to live my life.
mhm,
And I think that was a bigger message than us sticking with the male lead on his journey to revenge,
mhm,
which
mhm.
happens a lot in the show.
No, I agree. I liked that aspect of it. She was like, "Look, I'm gonna be left with the consequences of whatever comes from this revenge, and I don't want that. Like, I'm done. I just want to go and do my life." And that is perfectly acceptable. Like, she's not forgiving and forgetting. She's just letting it go and like thinking, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it overall, but I feel like if I'm gonna say why I enjoyed it, it's probably gonna all come down to Zalushi and her acting and like her journey, her character. Because that's what sticks in my mind, like 6 months down the road, that's what sticks in my mind.
Mm.
I will also say there is something to be said about um the what's her name, so she played Su Shi Ju.
Yes.
like her relationship with our female leader, Zhao character, that was a very interesting for me to watch.
Yes, I
Uh,
agree that those two kind of held up
the
the
show.
show basically in the
Yeah.
last, especially in
Yeah.
the last
Yeah.
half. The
Hmm.
first half, Sui Shiju, who's played by Chloe Xie,
Hmm. Hmm.
is a bit of an antagonist, and she also grows, right? That character grows and goes through hardship and gets
Hmm.
humbled over and over again
She truly
until,
does.
yeah, until she's in a different place, right? Another change in status story coming
Hmm.
from this other female character. And I thought she had the better story. At the end of the day, if I look back on the show and look at all of the characters, I'm like, she had the better story. She had the
Hmm.
best, uh, most compelling arc. She had the better love story. I
It was
mean,
very
it was
interesting.
juicy. It was very
Hmm.
interesting, super complicated, and they had more chemistry. Like all the things, I was like, wow, this is just a strange
Hmm.
experience to watch the show and expect it to go a certain way or see the breadcrumbs that they're laying out for us, and it still doesn't go that way.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
There was the whole revenge plot where she was kind of supporting him at least midway through the show. um, there's all these MacGuffins that are going to lead you to maybe treasure.
Yeah.
Never happens.
A treasure just doesn't materialize, does it?
This doesn't happen. We never see the treasure. We
Yeah.
never get that. The blood pearls things.
Hmm.
Like I'm like, I don't give a shit. This is not a. These are MacGuffins. They don't
Hmm.
matter.
Hmm.
That was very frustrating to me. And it's like all of this time and energy spent on trying to find your roots and trying to find, connection with your family that you didn't know you had a family and all of this stuff. And then just to see her reject it all
Yeah. Yeah.
and not make any sort of meaning. She just uses it for for entrepreneurial gain.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm like, is that honoring your family? Is that, you know, I was like, I
Yeah.
understand that
Yeah.
you inherited nothing but pain and suffering, but I it was just so weird.
Yeah. No, no,
Like
I
it had
agree.
no heart. I feel like the show had no heart.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. I think it's because we didn't. Should we rate this and then we can get into
Yeah, let's do it.
spoilers?
Let's do it, and then we'll talk
Right. So,
specifics.
ratings. One teacup. It was something I watched. It wasn't good, but something made me finish. And that's a 1 to a 5.5 on MDL. Two teacups, the okay ones. I don't really recommend, but they were an okay background watch. 6 to 7 on MDL. Three teacups, the enjoyable ones, good dramas. They were enjoyable, and I would recommend to people who enjoy this genre. And that's a 7.5 to an 8 on MDL. Four teacups, the loved ones. These are dramas that I really loved. There might be a couple of problems with it, but overall, a really enjoyable drama that I would recommend to a wider audience. And that's an 8.5 to a 9.5 on MDL. And then the five teacups, the rose glass no faults dramas. This rating is reserved for those dramas that you love so much that you are willing to ignore any problems they may have. And those are like your elusive 10s on MDL. Now, I just had a quick look and I will stick to what I said 6 months ago because I'm sure it was fresher in my mind than it is now. I rated it an H on MGL. So that's like a three teacups.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
I'm gonna stick with that because apparently that's
Mm-hmm.
where I was when I finished
Okay.
it.
You landed at three
Um,
teacups, basically. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna give a half a teacup, so two and a half
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
teacups because
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe I'm between two and three teacups on
Yeah.
this drama. Where like it's okay. I don't really recommend it, but it's an okay background watch. But then some parts were enjoyable. There
Really
were
good. Yeah.
highs. And if you do like Zhao Lusi or you like Liu Yuning, who am I to stop you? Fine, three teacups. So two and a half is where I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
settling.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm just sticking to what I said 6 months ago because it was way fresher in my mind then than it is now. And I feel like if I were to revise it now, it's like, yeah, but I don't remember half of what happened. So I don't think
I
it's going to
mean,
be
I
a
don't have the best
fair.
memory either. So we're going into this at a critical juncture here where we might have some stuff, but not everything for
Yeah.
this drama.
This, yeah, guys, this might not be like completely in-depth review. We're just going to talk about. So, this is your spoiler warning for the story of Pearl Girl. We are now heading completely into spoilers. So, if you haven't watched it and you don't want to be spoiled, then go watch and then come back and finish the episode. Or if you don't mind spoilers, then just go ahead and listen. So, where do you want to start, Jess? Where would you like
Okay,
to
so maybe
start?
let's start at the beginning because this is where I have the most notes. It's the first
Yeah,
20
me
episodes,
too.
and then we can
Me
like
too.
freestyle in the last 20. Okay, so she basically is a slave on this pearl farm
Mm-hmm.
that Siu Shiju, her family, the Siu family, owns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, super, super intrigued by this entire process, by people coming to the pearl farm and these like beautiful slaves dressed in very elaborate costumes and beautiful makeup and hair and jewels and everything, selling these pearls.
Mm-hmm.
And she becomes one of those girls for a night. She meets the male lead, she meets the second male lead. And then all hell breaks loose, like I said, in the front half, in the non spoiler section. And like the entire pearl farm goes up in flames. She gets rescued, and her biological mother ends up getting her out, extracting her.
Yeah. Yeah. Her mother, who she did not know was her mother.
Exactly. So again, lots of questions. It was like kind of thrown at you.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a retcon, but it wasn't. It was just the progression of the story. It's
Of the
like suddenly
story.
this
Yeah.
lady that you thought was very vicious toward her. She was
Mm-hmm.
what was she? She was like the slave. She was,
Oh, her mother.
yeah, what was she
She
doing there?
she
She
was
was like
like she was
an
basically
over
like the head mistress of sorts. So she overlooked the girls who showed off the pearls. She made sure they looked pretty. She made
right, but
sure
then she was
they
also cooking the books as well.
Yeah, I think she
She
was.
yeah. So she learned how to read because of this lady. She learned how to manage accounts and different things like that from this lady who ends up being her biological mother. That was the reveal in like an early episode.
Mhm.
But the entire system that was built there in the Pearl Farm was horrific. It was,
Yeah.
all of these underground tunnels of slaves just living in squalor and mud. And there was a pervasive um, attack on women, sexual assault rampant.
Mhm.
They had like birthing
Yeah.
women who were basically raped, and then whatever child was, when they were impregnated, those children would then become slaves and be
Mhm.
indoctrinated and
Mhm.
trained up into the pearl farm and
Being
learn how to
divers,
dive.
yeah.
And I was completely enamored with this entire world. It was so interesting and terrible that I was
Yeah.
like, okay, we're going to be here for longer. We weren't there for that long.
I wish we were, because the thing is, they were not afraid to go and show you these really dark,
Mm-hmm.
places. And I was so intrigued by the whole, slave part of it. And we were there. So she actually escapes by episode 2, episode 3. That's it.
That's
That's the
it.
slave arc finished. And actually, I wish we would have, like you said, I wish we would have stayed a little bit longer there. I wish we would have seen. So basically, her mother doesn't, well, her mother knows she's her daughter, but the reason why she hides it away is because she's basically doesn't want people to know that's her daughter, because they'll come for her and they'll use her in like other ways. So she just prefers
It was
to
just
hide it.
unclear. It's still unclear
Exactly.
why she wouldn't tell her
Mm.
that you're my daughter, I'm your mother. Um, what have you? It was so strange. And then to leave her in that situation, in that slavery,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and not at any point prior try and get her out
mm-hmm.
is baffling to me.
Yeah. It was
Baffling.
I felt like that specific part of the story was quite rushed, which meant there was no, like, the thing is, by the end, when she's like, okay, I'm done, I don't want to honor my family, and you're like, well, she kind of has a point, because the family she comes from, I mean, her own mother kind of
Yeah.
was there
She
but
was
wasn't.
cruel. She was cracking the whip on
Exactly.
her. It was,
So
what is that?
So yeah, I agree. I wish we would have seen a bit more of the, um that aspect of it. And like one of my very first notes is about the auction actually. It's about like
Yeah.
first of all the setting for it was stunning. It's so
Stunning.
so beautiful. The
Yeah.
setting of it, the clothes, everything. But also I loved the back and forth between Zhao Lusi and Lu Yuning here because she's trying to get more money for this pearl because she
Hmm.
has to get 7 million or whatever for the pearl to make sure that she stays alive. That's the deal. She has to sell it for 7.
Hmm.
And their back and forth there was really just like I love that kind of banter between characters.
Yeah.
Um which does stay like they do have nice banter throughout the show, even if she does become a little bit more meek towards him, I suppose, because he saves her and whatnot. But I
Hmm.
feel like the banter does kind of stay. But yeah, so episode 2 is where her mother sacrifices. You learn her mother's story and you learn, you know, her sacrifice is that she dies so that
Yeah.
Duan Wu can kind of escape the crumbling slave
But
thing.
again, I thought it was such a important piece to the puzzle. You see her diving, and Zalushi did all of this stunt work underwater
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
was incredible. It was so impressive to see her underwater, and it was all practical, right? They're all of the people that are diving with her, they're also underwater in some kind of tank or
Hmm.
some sort of facility where they filmed this. And I was like wide-eyed. It was incredible.
It's so good. It's so
It
good
looked
because you
so
can
good.
truly see it's real water. It's not like there are these
No,
fake
it's
water
not
scenes like
Aquaman.
and everybody except and everybody did their own, stunts, which made it look so incredibly good. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like, oh, like her acting in these first 2 episodes alone.
There's so much desperation to
Good.
her. There was so
Exactly.
much rage and something simmering under the surface in her that I
Mhm.
really loved and I wanted to explore more. And you kind of do, but not really. I wanted to see more of her utilizing her expertise of pearls
Mhm.
throughout the show because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's
Yeah.
story of Pearl Girl. She should be
Know so
joining this
much.
jewelry
Yeah.
industry and then telling everybody everything about pearls or dominating
Mhm.
the pearl market or whatever, cornering it in some way, shape, or form because she has all of this expertise. She grew up on this pearl farm.
Mhm.
She knows how to dive. I was like, oh, she's going to dive again. She should be able to
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
her skills in swimming and holding her breath, what have you. Never happens. None of this stuff happens
We never
that
see it
I would
again.
think they would write in.
Yeah, and
So
we never
that's why I'm
see
like,
any
what
of it.
what are we doing?
Yeah, we just don't see any of it ever again, which is a little bit frustrating.
So
So
she
yeah.
gets taken in um on Zijing's ship because he has
Hmm.
this merchant vessel that's filled to the brim with employees and slaves as well
Hmm.
that are working for him and fueling his merchant jewelry business. And he's been basically amassing this fortune for years and years and making connections all around China
Yeah.
to exact his own revenge and gain a foothold in this industry where he
Hmm.
can wheel and deal and bring people to their knees when he needs to. And this is the part where I was like, this is strange because she gets basically taken in as a slave. He
Hmm.
steals her pearl, her red, blood red pearl, which
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble with because he's manipulating her.
He is. He is. Because he's like, you're stuck on this boat now. Because she obviously, so this red blood pearl comes from her mother. And it's really, really special to her. It's the last thing of her mother that she will ever have. And there's, a whole family story behind it. It belonged to her family for a very long time. So she wants to get this pearl back, but he steals it from her. And then he's just like, I will give it to you back if you earn it back or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
basically, if she earns it back, there's all these stipulations like if you make this much
Mhm.
money, if you work your way to the top deck, all of these things. And I'm like, what? Is he the male lead? Are they going to fall in love? Because he's very emotionally distant. He is extremely brutal, almost
Mhm.
fatalistic on the boat where he's, doling out punishments to other employees and slaves on the boat and at one point like she gets whipped and all of these things are happening to her and he's there, he's the one who's calling the shots.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then there's another side to him where he's like seems to be doing this for her own good, a little bit of trial by fire, a lot of I'm going to teach her the ropes.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's just like throwing her into almost into the deep end and hoping she'll swim, but he's not like aiding anything, if that makes
No.
sense.
Yeah, he's
And the thing
actively
is,
tricking her in
exactly.
certain episodes, in these early episodes, and she makes mistakes and she has to
She makes
learn
a lot
from
of
them.
mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I look, in that aspect, I can kind of get behind her making mistakes and him letting her make those mistakes because I think she'll learn a lot better rather than him stepping in and kind of like saving her. But he could guide her a little bit better. But I just don't think that's his character. There is like I love a red flag character as much as the next person, but there is such a thing as a little too red where you then find it very difficult to believe there could ever be romance between these
Exactly.
characters. And I
Exactly.
feel
And that's
like,
how it was.
yeah, and that could possibly be, this. And I think, like, ultimately, look, people were very excited for this drama because these two had worked together on oh my goodness, what was the drama? Oh, I'm having a
Long ballad?
blank. The Long Ballad, yeah. So they were a couple there, and apparently we know I didn't finish The Long Ballad, but I think from what I remember, they didn't necessarily get a great ending, but people loved their chemistry so much that they got together to do this drama again. And I think because people were expecting them to be a main couple,
Mm,
that's where the story went. Now, I haven't read the original novel, so I don't know if that's how it works in the novel, but one would think that's the case. Um, but I almost wish they would have worked as partners and
mm,
stayed as partners, if that makes sense. Also, because she has such a good contestant or, a good possible love interest in the second male lead.
oh, yeah. Oh, but that was
Like,
interesting too.
because he's
He judges her
genuinely,
all the time.
he does judge her all the time, but he is a lot kinder to her.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
No, he's not he's not physically abusive like the male lead is, and he's not as harsh to her. He wasn't giving her this tough love style of, you know, love and telling her not to be so naive. He was like, I can't believe that you did XYZ and the other. That's not kosher. That's not right. And she's like,
mhm,
what is right and what is wrong? I don't understand why you're judging me for doing, you know, whatever it is, beating this guy for stealing my money
mhm, mhm,
or trying to frame me for whatever.
mhm. He has
And
a very
he's too righteous.
exactly,
And she was a
exactly.
little
It's a
messy.
mhm, mhm. The thing is, she almost needs like a blend of these two guys together for her
That's
partner
who she
to be
needed.
a really
Yeah.
good partner. Yeah, I was just gonna mention now that we've talked about him, the second male lead. One of the lines, like one of my favorite lines from the show, is actually he says it, and it's in episode 4, and he promised her that he would compose this poem about like the hardships of pearl collecting and stuff. And one of the lines is, people want to appreciate its beauty, yet ignore the bloodshed of the pearl divers. That pearl diver once told me one tear of a mermaid so rare and bright is bought with the blood of countless lives. Those two lines came direct from her lips. And I'm like, that's one of my favorite. And again, that's why I wish we would have stayed in the Pearl Farm a little bit longer. And I get it. They probably want to get her out and get her story kind of going. But I feel like she could have learned, like, we could have had a case of somebody comes in and kind of takes over the Pearl Farm, right? And she kind of starts working with that person, whatever it may be. We could have gone in that direction, but I guess that's just not where the story was supposed to head. Um, but yeah, I
I
do
was
go
very
go for it.
confused about the family dynamic stuff, who her mom and dad were compared to his mom and dad, because at one point I was like, oh, are they siblings? Are they cousins? I had so many questions and it still
I
was
think
unclear to me.
I think so. It's really interesting that you ask that actually, because we had somebody watching this on the Discord and they were going back and reading through because I don't delete Discord chats. Like they just get, archived as, 2024 dramas or wherever it may be. So whatever we were watching and we were thinking and chatting about on those chats stay there. So one of the people that kind of joined Discord recently, they were watching the story of Pearl Girl and they were going back and reading. And that was one of their questions. They were saying, I don't understand the family dynamic. And I was trying to remember. And like from what I recall, because I didn't write any of it down, but from
Mm-hmm.
what I recall, is that her parents worked for his parents and they
That's what
were
I thought
very
too.
close. So they're
Uh-huh.
not like, so they're kind of part of his family in essence, but because they work for his
Uh-huh.
family, but not necessarily blood related, if that makes sense.
I got
So
you.
I
Yeah, that's kind of
think
where I
that's
settled on
what I
it.
got. Yeah.
That's where I settled on it. And then her father had some sort of special method for making
Mm-hmm.
colored
Mm-hmm.
glass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay. And we're
Okay.
making faces over here like, oh, okay,
I don't know.
great,
That's where
sure.
we're going.
But, the Sui family, on the other hand, which is like the antagonist, like the cross
Mm-hmm.
dressing
Mm-hmm.
girl, her family gets ruined because of the pearl business, table flipping, and her journey in the first half of the show, how she's this cruel, arrogant little shit, and is so uncaring for the plight of all the pearl farm slaves and the sexual
Mm-hmm.
violence and the breeding program out there and everything. She turns into this helpless, desperate, humbled person. And at one point, she frees the slaves in her evil uncle's compound.
Yep.
She's literally like, "Do you hear the people sing?" Like she's like waving the
Yeah,
flag. She's completely um on the other side of the aisle. And
Mm-hmm.
it's great to see her hit rock bottom, at least like up to the halfway point of the show. Basically hits rock bottom and she goes toe to toe with so many male characters in the show and the patriarchy at large that are like, why are you dressing like a boy? You should
Yeah.
be at home. You should be embroidering. You shouldn't be involved in the business. And
You should be getting to, your
you
only
should be getting
thing
married.
is
Yeah.
it be getting married. That's the only way you can help the family. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree. Her story was really, really interesting because she's so incredibly capable. But because she's female, they refuse to see that. And
Yeah.
she says this throughout the show. If I were born a man, I would be your heir. I would be like taking over the business. I would
Mm-hmm.
be this and that. And that's the only reason she dresses as like a man is so that people will take her more seriously because people refuse to do so just because of her gender. And there's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something to be said about like that narrative and that part of her story.
Mm-hmm.
Her story was very compelling, very, very
Yeah,
compelling to
I
me.
agree. I agree. So then there's Found Family on the big merchant vessel, which I found very surprising that they put that in, but yeah, I thought it worked pretty well as a ragtag group. And they make it out all the way to the desert. And there's multiple points where they can leave. Like this Found Family
They
surrounding the male lead
refuse.
and female lead,
Yeah.
they could have left. They could have just lived.
Yeah. The thing is, it's heading in that direction when I think it's episode, I can't remember. I'm just trying to find it because I did highlight it. Episode 17. And then, yeah, so
Yeah.
episode 17, right, is when they're all happy. They're all in the desert and, crap is going down because these words were uttered. So the female lead says, so this is what home feels like. It's so nice. And the male lead says, we can have a home too. And
Oh,
she asks, we can. And he says, of course we can. How about it? And then he says, then it's settled. And I'm like, It
Nope.
ain't. It ain't settled. If these words have been uttered before the ending of the show,
Yeah.
you know people are gonna die and there's not gonna be a happy ending. Like it's just
So
the
yeah, because
rule. I don't
they
make the
go out
rules.
they go out there trying to search for this Black Dragon gang, and I'm like, they're gonna find you. You better like put your
You're
head
gonna
down.
die.
You're
People,
gonna
you're gonna
die. But
die.
I didn't realize, like, it was at this point in the show that the show goes from good to oh shit, wait a minute. Because like
Yeah.
this was a level of carnage that I didn't expect. The entire convoy, what's left of it, gets killed. Her adoptive
Everybody
like
dies.
little brother
The
dies.
little
Everybody
kid. I was
dies.
just like, Shrimp. That was his nickname. Shrimp.
Shrimp.
Little
Oh,
Shrimp. And I'm
yeah.
just like, what just happened? This
Yeah.
type of carnage is reserved for the end, not part way. I was just thinking, who have you got left to keep the show going for the
Yes.
rest?
And then there
Because
was this
everybody's
whole
dead.
yeah, and there was this whole misunderstanding that Duan Wu thinks that Jing tried to kill her because he was
Yeah.
trying to Robin Hood this
He's trying to
arrow that was
save
heading to
him.
her, trying to save her life. Like, but the arrow ends up going through her shoulder, and she's just like, "Oh my god, my lover just tried to kill me," and she collapses, and it's unbelievable. This
Mhm.
episode, like 19 or 20, is it feels like it comes out of
It's
left
like
field because it is so much the level of
angst.
destruction
Yeah, it's just boom. It's
is
like a
boom. Yeah.
nuclear bomb has exploded
Yeah.
on this show, and it's
Yes.
left barely anyone standing. And you're like, what the hell just happened?
Mhm.
And the thing is, you kind of get it that something big's about to happen because A, everybody's far too happy. B, everything's running far too smoothly. And you've still got another half of the show to go. So you
Yeah.
know shit's about
Something
to
has
hit
to
the
happen.
fan. Yeah, but
Exactly.
I did not expect it to be that big of a carnage, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yan Zijing is as yeah, I think that's his name. Yang Zijing, the
Mhm,
male lead,
mhm.
is also all injured. He's had many slices and swords slung at him. He's got a
He's
few
been
arrows sticking out of
poisoned.
him. He's been poisoned
The
like his whole
poison,
life.
the
It is
poison that's gonna bite him in the back.
oh my god, it's crazy. So, did you guess who the big bad was? Who was the spy in the Black Dragon gang? Because I did. As soon as I saw his like bestie who knew his parents all those years ago and was running this outpost in the desert, this merchant outpost.
Oh, I'm trying to remember this part of
Okay.
the show.
Because this guy you see him just before all hell breaks loose because he's welcoming them to this like menagerie out in the desert. And I was like, this guy's shady. This
It's
guy's
bad.
super
Yeah,
shady.
yeah. I called it straight away. I was like, he's gonna mess things up. Like he's gonna be bad
Okay.
news in general.
Cool.
Because that was a
Yeah.
bit obvious.
Okay.
I found.
Because yeah, that's 20 episodes later, that's who brought down the entire operation for them. That's who has been the enemy the entire time because he personally betrayed his parents and killed the whole like Yan clan or whatever. And he's been there, you know, the whole time. Like the whole time. So I like that reveal in the end of the show. I also thought it was really obvious that Prince Ying or whoever was behind the second lead. You know, there was like this prince, a royal.
Oh,
who
yes. I remember.
was barely
Yeah.
in the front half of the show, but he was besties with the second lead, the second male lead.
He was like the supporter, yeah, their back or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
And everyone's like,
yeah.
oh, every time the second male lead would go somewhere, they'd be like, oh, but he's friends with Prince Ying or Prince so and so. And I was like, okay, this guy's also shady. And it, of course, it turns out that Prince Ying is also a big bad. He's been manipulating the jewelry business and caused the downfall of their families like 20 years ago and all the things. So I thought that was also telegraphed that that was going to be the case. So all these things that take so long to manifest in the show, all these reveals, they're not that powerful when it actually happens.
Because it takes
because
so long.
it takes so long and you were waiting for it. You're waiting
Yeah.
for them to reveal this exact person, this exact character
Hmm. Hmm.
to be evil, to
Yeah.
be at odds
Yeah.
with
I
everybody
would
else. So,
agree.
okay.
Yeah.
What were some really enjoyable parts of the second half of the show?
I'm just trying a quick glance of my of my notes. I will say, I
Probably
I
go for it.
really like the fact that we got to see Duan Wu and Zijing as like enemies in the second half. I don't know why,
Barely, but yes.
but like they were there for a little bit. But because I feel like that builds for some really good chemistry in that, when you're on opposite tracks. But I like seeing, again, we're going back to her character, but Duan Ru's like story of like her, it's her story now. Like there's no one behind her. She's got to do it herself, right? Because she's got no backers, no friends. She's like by herself completely. I
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that she grabbed women and like that's how
Mm-hmm.
she built her business was
Yeah.
through women.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong because I might be mixing up
Oh
this show
God.
with
Okay.
another show. Was this the one where she kind of to show off her pieces and to like make them sell and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
Did she get involved with like courtesans, like high ranking
Yes.
courtesans?
Yes, she
Okay,
did.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
No, there was this
Like
whole competition where the
exactly.
courtesans are competing, and I guess for
Mm-hmm.
charity, they donate whatever high
Mm-hmm.
class piece of jewelry that they are wearing or whatever. And so she has like a guitar looking thing
Yeah, 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 yeah. An
inlaid and all this stuff. It's
instrument.
beautiful. And that's what her courtesan like used, and then they partnered with another courtesan who had like little bells on her shoes and did like a dance and all this
Yes.
stuff. So
Yes.
that was cool. And then all of these courtesans become investors
In her
in her
business. Yeah.
business. Yeah.
So I like that aspect. I like that it's like a women business, owned business, women
Yeah,
led business. Like
absolutely.
I like that
That's all positive.
story.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. That's all good stuff. What
I
about
hated how
you?
the
What did
men
you...
had to ruin it every time
Yeah, they
because
had to come in and be like,
yeah.
it's really annoying. I do agree. I will say, I'm going to mention this is a very off topic, but also kind of related. This reminds me a lot of this year's, was it this year's? Yes, I
Hmm.
think it was this year's Flourished Peony because
Ah.
the setup is different. Like one's about flowers, one's about, but the story, like the female led stories are
Mm,
very similar, very, very similar, but I think Flourished Peony did it better. With like the
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
relationship, you could see they like by the end of season what they're calling season 1, which I think is like episode 32, this couple ain't together. They are like
Uh,
partners, friends and whatnot. There's feelings there, but they're not together. And I think it did it so much better because it allowed for them to fully focus on the female lead's journey completely, and it changes the show. It completely changes
mm,
like the show. But what I'm trying to say is these have very, very comparable stories in terms of like where they come from and whatnot. And the female lead in Flourished Peony also uses a female led like cast to open up her own shop and whatnot.
mm.
So it's really, really, really interesting. So that aspect of like the story of Pearl Girl, that's where we should have stayed. Like
Yeah,
that.
I loved it. I love she staffed all her business with women, and the investors were women. The courtesan that she had originally had a really good friendship with, she ends up getting murdered in this
Yeah.
whole plot. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
is really heartbreaking at points in the second half of
Mm-hmm.
the show.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have a lot of obstacles that they have to overcome. And Yan Zijing's character, like that male lead, is barely touching
There.
her business. He's not really
Mm-hmm.
antagonizing her at all. Um, and towards the end of the show, they intersect again.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that the greatest crime of the show is that I think there is a prevailing thought that he would survive the poison. that was in his system since he was a child,
Didn't
because
think
the
you would.
Black Dragon gang poisoned him as a child. There was like
Hmm.
a Hail
Hmm.
Mary halfway through the show. There was some witch doctor that was like, yeah, I know how to cure your poison. And then he gets killed by the Black Dragon gang. And it's like
Hmm.
all hope is lost. But towards the end of the show, it was, I think there was still this hope that he would survive.
Hmm.
And all of the effort that she expended to try and find a cure, it's never shown on screen.
No, no.
It's just this like, oh, let's hang out, let's be together, let's do whatever. And she's almost like too naive or too kind to him. But then it's revealed, oh, she's been all this time she's been trying to find a cure. And I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that the way they told that bit of the
Hmm.
story towards the end of the show. I thought that was rushed. And the final scene of them is like them just hugging, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just like
Let's go
hug, and there's
to.
this montage of all of the times that they were together in the show. And the final scene, I fully expected him to like pop out and be
Yeah.
in
No.
this. And I was like, oh
So
my God,
my
he actually died.
so since we're talking about the ending, I have 4 points for episode 40, and I'm just going to read
Perfect.
them back to
Please.
back because it makes sense. Like, this is my thought process as
Okay,
I'm
love
watching
it.
episode 40.
Go
So
for
it
it.
says, episode 40, seeing them spend New Year's together, and it's obvious this is heading for him dying, right? So, like, this is my thought. Episode 40, that kiss in the new year, absolutely beautiful. So, next up, beautiful to see his purpose through his family's name is finally clear. So he's like fulfilled his purpose. And I'm like,
True.
and then I wrote one more reason for him to die. He's done his life's work. And then my very last thing that I wrote, like my very last note on this show, is her becoming top businesswoman and part of the guild. This was always her story, and I'm glad she stands there on her own efforts. So that's like my very last note on this whole show. I think I don't know. I think I was kind of feeling like he would die fairly, like, I don't know,
Uh-huh.
fairly early on. I didn't think he would make it. And there's this running joke. There's a running joke that if Lu Yuning is in a drama, he will die. Like, there's this
That
running
is
joke
funny.
because it tends to happen to like all of his characters. So I think people were already thinking this is going to be another. It's Lu Yuning. He's going to die.
Right,
So I don't know.
right.
I think that's where my thought process was at. Like I said, I think for me personally, my most enjoyable thing about this show was her journey. But again, this could have been cut down so much, like 35
Mm-hmm.
episodes, because the ending feels rushed, but the middle and like parts of the second half, but specifically like more the middle towards the second half, it feels dragged out. So it's
Yeah.
like the pacing is completely off and it
Yeah.
throws the whole show off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, regarding his death, I still thought it was very abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no firm death scene, which I thought maybe the show should have invested in one, especially because it felt so unclear, right?
Whether
Going
he's
into the
dead or
final
not.
scene, whether he died or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think truly thought it was meant to, the final scene was meant to keep the audience guessing as to whether he lived or not, and whether they were going to do like a Deus Ex Machina thing where,
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way he lived. And it did feel unfinished. The whole, like, you see this caravan in the desert, like a merchant caravan, and her voiceover. And I was just like, what?
What is happening?
What is happening? Yeah. In,
Yeah.
in C drama land, especially, if you don't see a body, it didn't happen. Like, they can totally come back, or they're alive somewhere. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't make the rules. That's just the way it is. Okay.
True. It's true.
And so that's why I was like, what do you mean he just died off screen like that? That's wild.
I think 2024 in general was the year of like ridiculous endings in terms of endings that do not feel finished. And this
Yeah.
was part of that. A lot of people were mad at, the ending in general.
I'm actually not mad that he died. I'm mad at how it
wasn't shown.
constructed, like the execution of it was
Mhm.
not satisfactory.
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree with that actually. I could like they could have just given us a death scene, possibly a funeral, you know.
Or
If you don't
maybe
want to give us a death scene
she's giving her final speech in front of his
with his
grave or
tablet,
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That would
something.
have been enough. That would have been
Yeah,
enough. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that would have worked better as well. I would agree. I would agree.
yeah,
Have you got
upsetting.
any last thoughts, Jess, that you want to throw out there about this drama?
No, if you happen to be a jeweler or a gemologist or something, I highly
This
recommend this
is your
show.
thing. Yeah,
This
I
is
was
your
gonna
thing.
say this is your thing.
If you
You
work
might
for
want to check
Zales,
this out.
if you work for Jared's, this is the show for you.
I will say though, the jewelry in this was stunning to look at.
Oh, it was nice. Yes.
It was very nice to look at. I mean, we can't really rave about costuming or anything like that. There is a couple of scenes, like the desert outfit that
Oh
they
my
were
God, the desert
stunning,
outfit.
stunning.
Stunning. With her like
Some of
curled,
like
softly curled hair and
yes,
the headpiece.
yes, beautifully done
Oh my
styling,
God.
like
Yes,
beautifully done
I
styling.
agree.
Loved that styling, but overall the styling of the show is not, you know, they
Pretty
kind of
standard.
let the jewels talk in this show, and you can kind of see exactly why that's the case, because it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense for that to be the case.
Hmm.
um like I said, I feel like this is not an acting problem, because I feel
No,
like the acting in this was really, really good, especially Zhao Lusi. I mean, she really pulled her punches in this role. And if you watch the behind the scenes, like you said, she did a lot of her own stunt work, and it was beautifully done, beautifully done. So I don't think it was an acting problem. I think it was a case of it needed to be shorter, so it could have been more concise. And the pacing in this was what really, really kind of destroyed the
sucked.
story for me, I think.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I agree. I don't have anything else to say. I don't have any notes.
me neither. I'm done. I'm
Awesome.
done. Jess, thank you so much for joining me on this one.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, you're welcome back anytime. And that is it. That is our review of the story of Pearl Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and we shall catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.